What's going on, everybody? This is Jerome Moore, host and creator of Deep Dish Conversations. And firstly, I want to say thank you for all love and support, and thank you for exploring the perspectives of social change with me on this platform. I want to encourage you all to like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube and on your favorite podcast listen platform. And make sure you give us a 5-star rating if you're loving the Deep Dish Conversations. I appreciate all of the support again. I hope you all enjoy this episode. All right, here we go. What's up, man? What's going on?
What's going on? What's
good,
happening?
man?
What's cracking lagging?
Man, hey, man, you got it? Nah, man. We got Terrance Adams, a.k.a. Tory Leone, my Moorish brother. He got the fez. He rocking the fez, man. I'm really excited to get into this this interview, man. And
me too.
Really talk about this blackness, white supremacy.
Lost his cool real quick.
Navigating all that, and just in what is being a Moor? What does that mean, and how does that affect Black people? And how does that benefit Black people, right? And so, man, we're gonna start off. You ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're gonna start off by just tell us a little bit about who you are, where you from, how you grew up. And then we'll dig in deep into all your, we'll get nosy.
All right. Well, like you said, I'm Terrance. I'm Terrance Adams. Y'all, everybody call me T, of course. Stage name's Tory Leone, so that's a self-righteous plug real quick. But, of course, I grew up out in Madison. Like, that's where I was born and raised. And, like, when I say, like, from Madison, I mean, like, from Madison. Like, born in Memorial Hospital on Due West, lived on Neely's Bend, moved to the apartments in Due West, and then moved right around the corner from them apartments in a house, like Madison, you know what I'm saying? Right. But, like, being from Madison, like, I'm from Madison, but I feel like I was raised, like, all over Nashville, but more so, like, kind of in North Nashville, you know what I'm saying? Because every Sunday, like, my development really took place, of course, in Madison, because that's where I was from, but also every Sunday I was in church on White Street Pike, you know what I'm saying, Haynes area, right by Haynes Garden, directly across the street. All right. Every Saturday I was at Hardman Park with TAP, you know what I'm saying? So all of my development and kind of shaping as a child kind of took place out north, you know what I'm saying, as well. Right. So, and then how I would kind of describe, like, being from Madison, like, it's interesting to me because it's like when we was growing up, Madison was that place where it's like unofficial East Side, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get the bang East Side, you know what I'm saying? And like, as you coming up as a young kid, once you're like middle school, that's what we do, you know what I'm saying? We bang. Like, we
was banging sides back then.
We banging sides, you know what I'm saying? We throw it where you from, that's what you do. But you don't bang Madison. Like, that's an area you can't bang.
Throw up them M's.
Throw up them M's, you know what I'm saying? And you can't do it, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it was interesting, though, because Madison was that place where first generation, like my daddy from Edge here, right? And he from out south. And he would hate to hear me say that I felt like my development happened out north, by the way. He would hate to hear me say that. But, and out south, too. I mean, I was out south a lot, too. But Madison was that place where first generation Black people with money, and, of course, we're going to get into them terms in a minute, but first generation Black people with money kind of moved to that area, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And like my friends from the projects would move to Madison. Like, that's where you go when you made it, quote unquote, you know, kind of sort of. It was like a real middle ground. Like, you either go to Madison and go back to the hood because you couldn't stay there, or you go to Madison and you elevate to like Hendersonville or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was the only people I know, literally the only people I know who stayed in Madison my whole life. Everybody else went back to the hood or elevated to a suburb in a surrounding county, you know what I'm saying? Right. So it was an interesting place, man. Like, I experienced a lot of racism, young. Right. Being from Madison, like, I remember my when I embraced like my white friends, you know what I'm saying? Like, my first good little friend, every time my mama went to HG Hills, it was this little girl named April. I go see her every time she went to HG Hills. We went to school together. And just one day randomly, she was like, "Oh, you black-eyed pea?" I didn't even know how to feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know how to take it, and I knew it was a diss, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know what she meant by it, you know what I'm saying? I was like 6. So I was like, "What do you mean, black-eyed pea?" You know what I'm saying?
man.
So, you know what I mean? I had that experience, and like I remember my boy who lived directly across the street from me, and like a lot of the kids in Madison was black, but it was like really mixed. It was like either black, white. The kids was black, white,
Right.
and a few Hispanic kids. But I used to go jump on his trampoline one day, he just spit in my shoe, like in my cleat. And you know, I'm like a last resort fight type person. I'm like, if you bat me in the corner, like that's the only way I'm really gonna fight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But so I was just like, that's weird, bro. And I just never went over there again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went to Good Pasture for 3 years, which is also right there on Due West in Madison. It was a private school. So I went there for 3 years. That's the first time I got called a nigger. And that was actually a defining moment in my life, because I told my teacher, I was like, yo, he just called me a nigger. And she was like, I still remember her face, bro. She's like, oh, he did? That was all the response I got.
I'm lying.
Yeah.
No, he did.
Yeah, no, he did. Yeah, that was all the response I got. He did. So after that day, I just made it my business. Anytime I had an issue with white folks, we fighting. It was a defining moment in my life. And so because of that, I got into a few altercations.
Shout out to the teacher at Good Passion. You made him a beast. Thank you. We needed more warriors.
Definitely. That was a defining moment for sure.
Man, and so thanks, man. I didn't know that. I'm getting some new information.
Yeah.
And so, man, you in here rocking the gold. You know what I'm saying? You got the fez on.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us. What is that? What does the fez represent?
So the fez, it has a couple different meanings, I guess, associations and different stories that go along with it.
Right.
And this isn't a traditional fez. Like the traditional fez, people typically call the Shriner's hat.
Okay.
That's what they typically know it is. And I have it on my license. Actually, like I took my picture in the original fez. This isn't the original or traditional fez. The traditional one is more like what they call the Shriner's hat. That's what more people are familiar with, and it's like tall with the tassel around it and stuff like that.
Right.
And so some people call this a kufi. Some people still call it a fez.
Okay.
But some of the associations I've heard, they're from the knowledge I have, there's not one general consensus on the meaning. But there's stories like when we used to be at war with Rome, which Rome, one of the things they said about the Moors was they called us the rulers of the lords of the world, and talked about how we appointed councils and kings in every nation, and how once we were subdued, we was gentle people.
Right.
That was like one of the quotes they said.
Right.
But when we was at war with them, they talk about how they throw us in the lion's den. And they said the feds started off white, and because of all the blood, you know what I'm saying, they eventually turned red. So that's one of the kind of allegories that go with the feds, you know. And people also say it's our halo, like as people, because we gods, you know what I'm saying. We recognize each other as God, right?
Right.
So they also identify it as a halo, you know, it's your halo as you're moving around on the earth plane.
Okay, man. Speaking of just nationality and what it means to be a Moor as a black person. Can you take us through that journey for yourself? Abbreviate it. Because I know it's about a long journey, but an abbreviated kind of journey. Give us the meat of your journey from when the teacher at Good Pasture turns you into an animal, and because she didn't believe into like who you are today, and that transformation to like this is something that I believe is me, that I identify with, and is also beneficial for other black folks. And we'll get into that, the word black, and other black folks in the United States too, to be a part of this as well.
So and before I get deep off in it, I had to say the most pertinent change actually happened in Hunters Lane, which was during Gen 6.
Okay.
And basically Randy, my homeboy, my best friend at the time, he went to the bathroom and found on the wall all this writing, said, I hate niggers, go back to nigger land, KKK, all this different stuff. And he came back to the room with tears in his eyes.
Wow.
And he wouldn't even tell me what happened. The rest of class, he didn't say nothing. And he just took me to the bathroom after it was over. And like, you know, we both got real kind of charged about it. And we was like, damn, like, how can we make a difference, you know? Mm-hmm. And we tried to start a cultural club in Hunters Lane. And we went to the principal like several times. And he kind of gave us a bunch of word candy and nothing ever manifested. So from that, that's why when I got to MTSU, I still wanted to start Sankofa.
Right.
Like Sankofa kind of started in the summertime after that. And then took it to college. And of course, you know, Sankofa developed. And I think Sankofa, that was really...
Break down for people who may not know what is Sankofa and what does it stand for? What does it mean?
Yeah, for sure. And it made me smile, of course. And so you just saying Sankofa and looking at you, man.
Yeah.
It just gonna make me smile, man.
Kofa clan, for sure.
Kofa clan, absolutely. So Sankofa, of course, is a Adinkra symbol, which an Adinkra symbol comes from the Akan tribe in West Africa, right? And the symbol means it's not taboo to go back and fetch what is lost. You know what I'm saying? So it's a symbol of a mythological bird flying forward while looking backward with an egg or a gem in its mouth representing the future, right? So it's just saying as you flying forward, use your past to build a better future. And, you know, of course, we started Sankofa at MTSU. And, you know, we did a lot of great things for Murfreesboro, I think, you know, and for MTSU.
For sure.
I think, and that was like really our organization at MTSU and just what happened at Hunters Lane to learn about the Black Panthers and COINTELPRO, like all of that was a real pivotal era for me. And from that moment to starting Sankofa, I just knew that in order to know more about myself, I got to know more about my history. Right. And then I started learning about religion and how, you know, religion wasn't necessarily what I thought it was. So that principle of Sankofa really just stuck with me at that point. So I got to keep going back. Right. In order to build a better foundation for myself, I got to go back and understand what it was that we lost as a people. Right. So that kind of mindset just prepared me to continue to get knowledge, more and more knowledge about us as a culture, as a group of people. And so I was introduced to Noble Drew Ali, which was the founder of the Moorish Science Temple, by Joe. Man, what's Joe's last name? I can't remember Joe's last name, but anyway.
Joe Johnson?
Joe Johnson, yeah. But Joe was in Sankofa after you left.
Okay.
And anyway, he introduced me to Noble Drew Ali, and he gave me this little paper about him, and he used to try and explain the Moors to me, and he had a Moorish flag in his room and stuff, but I never got it. I was like, I don't get it, bro. Like, it's a religion or what? Right. And it was, like, that's what it seemed to me. It just seemed like a religion. So I was like, okay, it's an interesting little pamphlet, but this is a black dude that I never knew about, and he started a religion. Cool. And then, so I didn't really touch the Moors for another 3 to 4 years maybe. Right. And my son's granddad on his mama's side ended up bringing it back up to me, and he was explaining it a little better. Or he was like, hey, watch this dude. I got a video. And the guy was breaking it down. Dude's name was Taj Tariq Bey. And there was this video called Keys. I still remember it. And that was really the beginning of like, damn, it might be something to this for real. Like, right. Like I missed it the first time, but right. I'm getting where you're going with it now. Right. So that was kind of the beginning of understanding that it was deeper than I thought it was. And that's when I just went on a real deep dive, man. All I used to do every single day when I came home from work was watch hours and 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 hours of lecture. Right. That's all I used to do. And take notes and look stuff up and you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm doing. Right. For hours and days. And you know, it was a up and down journey because it's a lot of Moorish groups out there that are probably agents or act agent-like, right? Or they just parroting what they heard other people say, right? There's people who, I think as black people, we cling to the need for power because we feel powerless. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I know that was one of my things. So when I started to kind of learn what it was about, I wanted to believe everything they were saying.
Right.
So I almost got jammed up in some bad situations. I got took to jail once, you know what I'm saying, behind just listening to what people were saying and applying it without
researching the research.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like without my due diligence for sure. So you know, I almost joined a couple different groups.
Right.
But I realized that just wasn't for me, you know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't, you know, it's not about being Moorish, it's not a group, you know what I'm saying? It's just our DNA. It's just who we are as a people.
Right.
You know, some of the groups are beneficial, and not every group is bad. I don't want to make anybody think that, you know what I'm saying? And from the religious aspect, it has a lot of value in it, you know what I'm saying? I practiced the Islamism that Noble Drew Ali taught, and bro, I practiced that for about, I don't know, a year and a half or two, you know what I'm saying? Just to do it, you know what I'm saying? And I found meat in that too, but I realized that wasn't, you know what I mean, that wasn't for me either. Like my spirit is like, it's kind of my own individual path and stuff like that. So
okay. So on that path now, you then went through your journey, you then kind of figured out like your own identity of what it means to be a Moor after doing all the research and going through the bumps and hurdles and you know, like you know, going through that.
I hope I ain't on a BIE list somewhere right now.
What with that journey, how impactful has being a Moor and identifying with what a Moor is in your DNA has helped you navigate this reality that we have as black people and as black men in the United States?
Honestly, I wouldn't say it's helped me. I wouldn't say it's helped me. I would say I'm at a point where I'm still trying to figure out how to make it beneficial. From my standpoint, it's only beneficial when the collective of us understand the information. Right. Like there's things you can do in groups, and you have to go through like there's certain religious freedom. Like Muhammad Ali not going to fight in the war. Right. Like that was a religious thing. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that as a black person. You did what I'm saying? Right. And he didn't go because he was under the flag of Islam. Right. Right. So it's certain religious protections, and Islam itself is recognized as a form of government. Okay. So when you talk about, they call it Muslim law. So Muslim law is an autonomous form of government distinct from the religion. Okay. So it's two totally different things. It's influenced by the religion, but it's distinct from the religion. Okay. So you have certain rights and protections under Muslim law. Okay. You have certain rights and protections that come under nationality, mainly Article 6, the Supremacy Clause. But all of this stuff is stuff that you have to go through particular venues and lanes and do paperwork, and you have to do everything in a sequential manner, in a proper order. And it might be beneficial for an individual and his group, his or her group, right? You know what I'm saying? You can do that, but that's not my goal personally. My goal is to help the whole, right? You know what I'm saying? The whole thing, the whole shebang. Right. And so to me, it's more about exposing what has been hidden or forgot or lost, because when you bring it to light, you can't hide from it no more. You know what I'm saying? When you got, how many so-called black people, is it 40 million or something like that? Something like that. When you got 20 million black people saying we ain't black, we Moors, and we know that, and we know what's owed to us, you can't hide it no more. Right.
So for people who may not understand the benefit or if the collective, right? If we stop calling each other black, right? We just stop that today and say, okay, I'm not identifying as the word, a color, right, of black, and said, okay, I'm a Moor. What does that mean? What does that do for us?
All right. So first you got to understand what a Moor is, right? We got to talk about what a Moor is. So when you talk about definitively what a Moor is, I think people forget, black people have a tendency to be like, just like with nigga. No, we changed the definition. No, you didn't. Right. Because in the dictionary, it still say what it say. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe
it's still defined how it's defined.
It's still defined how it's defined. So we had this tendency to go off of emotions and be like, I feel that don't matter. Right. In the court of law, your feelings don't matter. Right. Right. So legally and historically, what the term Moor means is one, a person who's under the law or government of Islam. So it don't matter what your particular religion is. Could care less. I'm not a Muslim in a religious term. Like when people think about what a Muslim is, I'm not a Muslim.
Right.
So it's about being under the protection of Muslim law, regardless of your religion. That's one. Second definition is a Moroccan, right? So when you talk about the Moroccan Empire, people got to understand about the Songhai Empire, which was the largest empire in Africa, stretched from Cameroon in the south to Senegambia in the west, all the way to basically Morocco in the north. So Morocco invaded that area and took over all of Songhai. So when Morocco took over Songhai, that whole area became part of the Moorish Empire, specifically the Moroccan Empire. Okay. Now, when you talk about specifically United States history dealing with black people, right? They say Jamestown was founded in 1607 or whatever, right? So when America was founded, the place that they were picking these slaves up from was the Moroccan Empire. Okay. All of West Africa, where they was going, West Central Africa, majority of it, like the vast majority. You know what I'm saying? There's only a teach that wasn't under the Moorish flag at that time. And if they wasn't under the Moorish flag, they probably was under the Islam flag. But it was some that wasn't. It was some that wasn't under neither. You know what I'm saying? Right. But from a dominant standpoint, we was all under the Moroccan flag. Okay. So saying that to say, the reason this will be beneficial is, and there were like, and I wanna point that out too, because I think black people get so caught up in the detail. Like you had so many black people who's like, well, we was fighting against Islam, or we wasn't really with Morocco and shit like that. And it's true. Right. But we're not talking about that. Right. We're talking about what's gonna benefit us as a people. Right. So fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about what empire did you come from? Because they try and marginalize and be like, what tribe did you come from? Right. Yeah, especially white people. Well, my ancestors was from the Spanish Empire. Right. But what tribe did you come from? Like, yeah, Africa had empires too. Right. You know what I'm saying? So the reason though that it's important to us is because the Moroccan Empire was, for one, the first nation to recognize the United States. Okay. We are the descendants of the first people who recognized the U.S. Okay. So it changed the trajectory of how you recognize, how you looked at as a group of people, how your historical continuity is viewed. Mm-hmm. You're being viewed as a people who was stripped from a land, beaten, taken down. They did whatever the fuck they wanted to you. Right. And they still doing it. Right. Versus the descendants of people who actually they wouldn't even be a nation if it wasn't for us. Right. 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 So not only that, but people who are trying to fight this system with their own law, if you look at the Constitution, there's what's called the Supremacy Clause. Supremacy Clause is Article 6. And what Article 6 says is that treaties are the supreme law of the land, and every judge shall know them and be bound to them, and anything to the contrary is notwithstanding. Okay. Don't matter. Anything made to the contrary of any treaty, don't matter. Now, here's the tricky part. The only way you can have a treaty is if you belong to a nation. Right. Right? So this is why in the beginning they had to remove us from associating with a nation. Because if you don't have a nation, you ain't got no treaty. Right. So the supreme law in the United States is actually treaties. So the longest standing treaty with the United States is called the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, which is between Morocco and the United States. The longest standing treaty in United States history, which is our treaty. Right.
Wow. So with that treaty, it's still valid today. Mm-hmm. If black people are recognized as Moors, which is under the Moroccan Empire, right? That means we have rights. Contrary to if we're not identified as Moors and we just black or African American, we don't have a nation. We're property. We're property. And even to speak to that, like if you look at the census, the definition of the census, right? Right. So black is the only term that doesn't have every other racial term has this phrase
a person having origins in original people.
Right.
Black is the only one that doesn't have the phrase original people. Black says a person having origins in any black racial group of Africa. And some people be like, that's just that don't really make no difference.
Right.
But why would they take your race and they don't attach you to people?
Right.
Every other race literally has this same quote: a person having origins in original people of whatever landmass.
Right.
Black is the only one. And then it tells you in the definition of race that race is not it has nothing to do with your background, your identity.
Right.
It's just made up. Like
Right.
it tells you what race is. So it
Right.
says in these 5 races that you can select, black has its origins in black racial groups. So it's calling you a race twice.
Right.
You don't have a nation. You don't have a ancestry.
Right.
You just
exist.
You just exist. You know what I'm saying?
With nothing attached to you.
Nothing attached. You don't have no history. Like beyond, because black people as a culture, as a historical group of people, did not exist until chattel slavery.
Right.
There was no such thing as black people as a group of people until chattel slavery. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Do you think we will ever as a majority of people in this country be able to get on board with understanding our identity outside of a color? Or is it just like it's too late? Like we indoctrinated with this blackness, and
I don't know. I struggle with that every day. Like I be like, damn, do I even want to continue this fight? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It's so much, and like that's why these conversations are necessary, because you can't really have this kind of dialogue one-on-one. You like, or not that you can't have it one-on-one, but it's hard to delve this deep. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? In a casual setting. You know what I'm saying? You just seen as the guy who trying to do too much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta try and throw little nuggets here and there, and see who's biting, and if they biting, you continue to drop. You know what I'm saying? So it's a long, drawn out process unless you have stuff like this from genuine people who not just trying to get people's money, get them to join a group. You know what I'm saying? Because it's power in numbers, true enough. But this ain't a group thing. This ain't about joining my group and giving me some money. This ain't about that. You know what I'm saying?
Like, with your journey in identifying as a Moor, and probably having to tell people, hey, don't call me black, and all that type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
All that type of stuff. I'm not black, I'm a Moor, right?
Yeah.
Have you faced any challenges, or what have been the challenges you faced, like personally, and like maybe just within the system that we live in?
So I recently stopped doing that, because I feel like for the same reason I started using nigga again. I didn't use nigga for a long time. Yeah. And I feel like it's just hard, man. Like I'm just trying to personally figure out how to navigate this thing, man. Like through my daily life, because you get alienated, you get seen in a certain way, you get boxed, we really don't want him. Like he cool as a person, but like he kind of weird. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you go through all that, and then you have some people who do flock to you. You know what I'm saying? Because they're yearning for that knowledge and that information. And then you have some people kind of put almost like a God complex on you. You know what I'm saying? We are all God, but we all God. You know what I'm saying? Not me, we. You know what I'm saying? Like, so don't look at me like I'm something that you not. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So some people give you that kind of complex, and then some people just genuinely looking for the knowledge. And then the majority of people are kind of like, he weird, or like, oh, that's interesting that you know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but anyway, you know what I'm saying? Like, back to getting this money. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of puts you in it's just an awkward kind of boxing situation. And I just kind of now, like, because I was real loud with it, you know what I'm saying? They're like, don't call me black. Right. And I think that's a bad way to explain it. Like, I think I was doing that thing where you repeat what people say. And I think a better way to say it is like, what is black? Right. Like, what does that mean? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, to get a person thinking in that way. Right. Because I mean, what would you say black means? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well,
in a definitive term.
And
Not,
yeah, I don't, because I would go back to like trying to break down like what our culture is, right? Black means being this way or being that way.
Got you.
Like associating like maybe actions,
Almost like a verb.
verb,
Yeah,
verb,
Yeah, like a verb.
putting like it's a verb pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like because outside of like it being a color, right?
Right.
Like it's a verb.
It's a verb. You know what I'm saying? It's what we do, right?
Right. It's nothing. Like especially if you're talking about historically, like and like legally, it's nothing like tangible.
There's nothing tangible, right?
That attaches
that we know of, though, right? You know what I'm saying?
With the word black.
With the word black, but definitively, right? So black, you say like, what is black? This is why I would ask, like, what is black? Black is a nigga. Everybody know that. You know what I'm saying? Black is a nigga. But what is a nigga? You know what I'm saying? You talking about a Negro or a nigger?
Right.
Because that's where they come from. One of them two words. You talking black come from Negro, right? So when you talk about what Negro is, then you get into the etymology of a Negro. Negro literally means Moor. Literally. Not figuratively, not, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it literally means Moor. Nigger.
With an E or without the E?
Negro.
Okay.
Negro.
I'm talking about but more.
Oh, so that was just like they had two different ways to spell it. Like, the old English word was like in the older English literature I found of colonial documents, they would use More to distinguish Morocco specifically.
Right.
Then they would use Moor to distinguish Muslims or all other Moors. You know what I'm saying?
Because I'm a Moor, you know. So.
Right, absolutely, right. Literally.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, it switched. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Without the E became like Moroccan, meaning the nation state. And then like with the E was, you know what I'm saying? But then over time, it was just the same word.
Right.
You know, as time kept going, it was just the same word. Like it might, and they put, matter of fact, in the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, they had this one clause in there that was like, if any Moor should catch a U.S. citizen, then they should let him go and this, that, and the third. And say any Moor outside of His Majesty's dominions should catch a U.S. prisoner, then whoop-de-whoop, whatever.
Right.
So they use the same word to distinguish two different sets of people. The reason it became known as black is because when we was fighting against them under the flag of Islam and in Morocco and North Africa, people know about the Crusades and shit, and we ain't gonna get into the details of that. But when those Crusades was going on, it was based, the way it looked visually was white people versus black people. Right. That's how it looked. But it was really Christianity versus Islam, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's just that, and that, you know what I mean? Like the Arabs, the North Africans, the West Africans was all congregating in North Africa and Southern Europe. Right. And we was all black. You know what I'm saying? We dark skinned.
Right.
And so over time, Moor became synonymous with black skin. You know what I'm saying? So, but when you talk about what is black, you know what I mean? Black come from Negro, nigga. Negro literally means Moor. Nigger literally means Indian, actually. Yeah.
Got it, like Native American
Indian. In the U.S. And that's why we got to get specific, because in the Oxford English Dictionary, it'll tell you, it got all the definitions we typically think of. Sub-Saharan African, woo-de-woo-de-woo, dark skin, da-da-da-da-da. The last definition on the page, the last one, in early U.S. history, usually with reference to Indians.
Wow. Well, that kind of makes sense, though, because we know many of us are indigenous to this land.
Exactly.
Right, and we know Native Americans was just as dark.
Right.
And had, you know, a variety of complexions of color. Yeah. Right. And when the Europeans, the Anglo-Saxons, when they came over, because of land rights, because of ownership, it was easier for them to, you know, reclassify them as black. Exactly. So therefore, you strip away the land rights. And then you can be a $5, you know, for Indian for them.
$5 Indian.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
It's wild. And
so now when you thinking about like calling your homie Or if you want to be you know what I'm saying, you want to be offensive too. When you think about niggas, you saying, oh yeah, you're a native of this land.
Yeah, you're a native of this land.
In the
Yeah,
United States.
That's
Wow.
literally what it means. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And that's why a lot of times I say Moorish Indian, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Or when I say Moorish American, from the American standpoint, I'm talking
Right.
about indigenous to this land, because even in Mexico, like you talk about the Alamo, they got a document in the Congressional Globe that talks about how Mexico belonged to the Mauritanian races and their Indian associates. So Mexico the Moors had been going back, the traditional Moors from North Africa had been coming over here to America
Right.
for a long time. So Moors are indigenous here too to white people. But, there was Indians here when the
Right.
Moors got here, you feel me?
Right.
So it's a lot of black Indians, quote unquote, who take issue with Moors, because Moors always be like, we indigenous and all the Indians are actually Moors and da-da-da-da-da. And they like, nah, like, y'all wasn't here. So black people had this whole fight within themselves when we should be trying to figure out how to bridge the gap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
How have you navigated Hey nigga, don't ever stop me.
don't ever stop me.
Don't ever stop me. How have you been able to navigate like just the professional world, the corporate world, and being a black man, your identity as a Moor, and just figuring all of that out and still remaining yourself, knowing everything that you know about your identity?
Man, it's tough, bro. It's tough, bro. Like, I used to sell insurance, right, in Memphis.
Right.
And this was like, I was really learning about the Moors when I lived in Florida. Like, that's when I got real deep into it. And that was like maybe 14, 15, something like that. And when I came back to Memphis, like 2017, I was like, man, I'm finna write my feds on Friday. You know what I'm saying? I'm just excited. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it actually made me a target. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had this thing we would do, Toastmasters, I think it was called Toastmasters.
Oh, yeah, the speech.
The speech thing, yeah.
Yeah.
We would do that every Friday. So I'm in there with my feds on. I'm suited and booted, tied, you know what I'm saying? I was looking good every Friday, you know what I'm saying? My lineup and everything. Like, I had my beard then, you know what I'm saying? So I would go in every Friday and do the Toastmasters thing. And like the people who was in there, a lot of them were my coworkers and some people wasn't. But they really appreciated the information, or knew they was learning something they didn't know. Or they like to just see me in the feds, you know what I'm saying? It was like, damn, it's something different. Like, we know on Friday he coming with the feds, you know?
Right.
So it's like you get that kind of like admiration, you know what I mean? Like, but it also makes you a target, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that was part of the reason I was kind of, I feel like anyway, pushed out from selling insurance at that particular establishment, you know? There was other reasons too, you know what I'm saying? And part of it was my performance, but if I'm being completely transparent, part of it was the performance, but the reason I say, okay, look, man, look.
Hold on,
right.
no.
That's
not the way you start.
I didn't start it that way.
You don't blame. You don't blame an establishment and then say, "Well, I really wasn't good at my job."
No, I ain't saying that. What I'm saying, all right, check this out. You have an insurance office, right? You have a representative. This how they had it set up. You got 2 reps. Hey, man, listen.
I'm listening to you, man. I'm listening.
You got 2 reps who have associates who work for them, right? They supposed to go out and generate leads for them.
Okay.
So on the other side, they got all women, right? All women.
Right.
So every day they all rotate calls. Everybody who call in, they pick up the phone, they sell them the insurance, whatever. Woo. On our team, it's the rep,
right,
his sister-in-law, her best friend from college, me, and then another dude who got hired after me. The way our phones went was he get all the calls.
Right.
If he miss it, it go to his sister-in-law. If she miss it, it go to her best friend. If all of them miss it, then it come to me.
Right.
If all 4 of us miss it, then it go to him.
Right.
Now, me and him was expected to go out and just get leads some kind of way.
Right.
We the only ones in the office
Right.
who expected to do this for some reason.
Right.
The other girls was the same position as us, but we supposed to go out and go find them, just make them appear.
Right.
And we supposed to have the same amount of leads every single week.
Right.
So on the other team, they getting it consistent. They got 9, 10, 12
Right.
leads. We don't supposed to get 4.
Right.
Me and him struggling bad, you know what I'm saying? And I made it worse for me because I was in Memphis at the time and I'm on my business card with my feds on and shit. This the South, man. This the deep South. You know what I'm saying? Like, they not trying to see that. Like, I'm showing up with a hand on my business. Hey, man, give me a call. They're like, oh, yeah, no problem. I ain't have my feds on when they look at me in person.
But they look, see
They
your
look
card,
at the card.
Like,
Oh. He's a Muslim.
And so look, man, all right, so I guess maybe it wasn't your performance. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, and that's why, like, when I say that, like, I could have made better decisions. You know what I mean? Like,
but that's just part like of that like conforming, right? Of just,
It
like,
is.
You have to understand the realities and then pick a choice.
And then pick a choice.
Yeah, right. And then sometimes like you like I'm just gonna do me and I'm gonna accept everything, the good and the bad that come with it.
Right.
Or I'm gonna just conform and it might feel good, it might not feel good.
Yeah.
It's depending on who you are and kind of what your spirit tells you once you make that decision.
Yeah, and I think you can find. I think I wasn't creative enough.
All right.
And that's why I say I put part of it on my performance. Like, I be in there studying too. Like, you know what I'm saying? I did everything I was supposed to. I made all my calls. You know what I'm saying? I did everything. But I be in there studying too. I'm still studying. Like, that's how deep I was into it. Like, I be at work.
Right.
Like, yo, damn,
Right.
nigga means native. Like, native
Right.
means a person born in bondage.
Right.
Hold on, I gotta find. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
so I be at work doing that too sometimes. You know what I mean? So,
What is the state of black people, Moorish people today?
what you
from
mean?
your perspective, what is our state like? If things continue to
Go like this?
go like they are, what is our future?
I don't know, man. That's hard to say. Because I think from what we see, I think what we know is nothing's really changed since slavery. You know what I'm saying? The wealth gap's the same.
Right.
Education gap's the same.
Right.
We still being incarcerated at the same rate. And incarceration is slavery. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It says that slavery should be abolished except for punishment of a crime.
Right.
So that means slavery still exists
Right.
in form of punishment of a crime. So we're still being enslaved at the same rate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They still making money off us at the same. So nothing's really changed. And I think the fact that we think shit is changing is a problem. And also the fact that we believe that we're helpless. And that's what they showing us on TV. Yo, your people just got killed again. We just
Right.
murked this nigga again.
Right.
Like, basically, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Right.
here's another slave movie, just to remind you, y'all was our property. We ain't gonna let you forget that. We gotta
Right.
bring that up every 2 to 3 years, just to let you know another
Right.
12 years a slave.
Right.
You know, and then that's the thing about it, like, even in dealing with slavery, slavery was an equal opportunity employer. And people
Right.
don't know that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It was white slaves. It was probably as many as it was black slaves. And they just now starting to find this out. But I've been doing a lot of research on that. There's a
Right.
lot of white slaves. And they used to call them spirits. When they go to like Europe and England and stuff,
Right.
they say the spirits will come and take the kids. And they would tell their parents, we're going to indenture them. Like, we're going to make them, and then they can
Right.
work it out, whatever, woo. And they make them slaves.
Wow.
And so white people were slaves just like black people were slaves. And black people own white people and Indians own it. You know what I mean?
Right,
it was an
right.
equal opportunity employer.
Right.
But, and that's why media is so powerful. And I think that's the same thing we're seeing today. And we kind of got to challenge, like, the police killings and all that. Like, we really don't know because we're not there. Like, how many people really know personally somebody who been killed by the police and this and that and the third? How, from my position, I can't understand how we supposed to be such a violent people and all these niggas getting killed,
Right.
but there's no retaliation.
Right.
That almost seems staged to me. I'm not saying it is,
Right.
but I'm saying we got to start to look at every aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
when you take something like slavery and make it seem like only one group was enslaved when everybody was actually enslaved, and that's a colonization tactic to make you feel as less of a people.
Right. Yeah. Slavery didn't start with black folks. Just
Right.
It didn't just start with when the Europeans came to the
Right.
continent. Slavery had been existing way before then.
Since the beginning of time,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it wasn't different in America. You know what I'm saying? We was
Right.
enslaving them too. That's another reason I love being from Madison. Is because Neely's Ben, William, it was named after this dude named William Neely, who was killed by one of the Indians, and his daughter was taken into slavery by the Indians.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I love being from Neely's Bend because it always reminds me of our history. You know what I'm saying? But we got to look at like what's being fed to us and why. You know what I'm saying? Like when the election came around, that's all we saw was niggas getting offed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like George Floyd and I said, like boom, everything big. Oh, we on reparations. Like all this stuff out of left field.
Right.
Because it's election season.
Right.
When the last time we seen, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
at the same rate, we haven't been seeing people getting killed by police. We ain't been
Right.
seeing like, there ain't no
Right.
talk of reparations. You know what I mean? All
Right.
that was election season.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we just gotta become, if we don't become more critical in our thinking and the potential possibilities of what's going on around us, then it's just gonna be detrimental to us, you know what I'm saying? But we won't know it's detrimental because we'll just be existing, kind of like what's going on now, you know what I'm saying? It'll just evolve as technology and other stuff evolve. It'll change forms because technology evolves, humans evolve, but we'll be in the same state, just being used by a people who don't really care about us, you know what I'm saying?
Well, look, man, we're gonna bring you back.
Hey,
Because we got a lot more to get into.
yeah,
We're gonna bring you back, and we're gonna talk more about this black folks, talking about the Moors,
yes sir.
and I want to get into this debates. You know, the Moors be having with the Israelites.
Oh,
and
God.
I want to get into that too.
Man, yeah,
but next
yeah,
time,
for sure. All right.
because I think that's a trip. But at the same time,
It is.
like, is that positive for the community? You know what I'm saying? How's that impacting community?
Yeah.
And like just going back and forth about information
Facts.
that really don't correlate with our reality today. But that's neither here nor there.
They mental masturbators. It's mental masturbation, bro.
But nah, man, I appreciate you, man. T.
Absolutely, bro. I appreciate you. Thank you, bro.
Nah, man. Hey,
I've
man,
been needing to get this out, right?
Man, I'm gonna need to get a fez. You know, that's what
Yeah.
I'm gonna need next time. Bring me one.
I bet. I got you. I know where to get 'em.
Bring the host a gift or something. Man.
You right.
Golly.
You right. Touche.
You know what I'm saying?
Touche.
Hey, but nah, man. I appreciate you, man. Love you,
Appreciate
man.
you. I love you too, bro. It's
All
good
right,
to see you,
Good
man.
to see you, man.
Yeah.
All right, till next time.
Next time, yes, sir.